Everybody that's here has probably learned how to create things or learned that they are a creator. And I find that, well, the other day, it was so simple. I needed a certain sum of money to pay a bill, and I had no idea where it was coming from. It was a lighthearted kind of moment. I was driving down the road, and I had a thought, I need to call so-and-so, which is a customer of mine. And so I did. I just acknowledged the need to make the phone call. I made the phone call, and the gentleman wanted to spend a significant sum of money more than what I needed that moment. And I deviated from my route where I was going to go. I met with the gentleman, and he wrote us a check for exactly the amount of money that I needed at that moment. It was a wonderful experience. It was one of those experiences that every one of us have had in some
Because
form.
your inner being knows what you're asking for, knows where you stand in relationship to it, knows what your path of least resistance is to call you to it. And when you're in that light-hearted mode, you hear the calling and you can go directly, immediately to the unfolding that you're asking for. That's just how it is.
The cool part about it was not the dollar value. The cool part about it was the experience, the essence, the feeling that I got at that moment, where I picked up the phone, I called my wife, and I said, "You're not going to believe."
Really good creating. Really good creating. There is a feeling of surprise and delight in it. We look forward to both of you feeling like, well, of course. In other words, this is just how it works. Well, of course. This is just how it works. But of course. This is just how it works. But of course. Of course. Of course. And then you can say things to the universe like, it's going to be really fun to see the way you work this one out. I'm really going to enjoy watching the unfolding of this one.
What I had in my mind was, after the event occurred, was, well, gosh, why wasn't I asking for $10,000 more than what I needed?
But feel the engines that you stacked on the other end of the train just then. In other words, there's resistance in that statement. Can you feel it?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. But in that, there is another launching of desire that says, hey, I can be or do or have anything. And I'm setting my horizons higher. I'm setting my sights higher. I'm getting clear about how this works. I'm feeling more sure about it. That is how it works. You see, on the one hand, we want to say to all of you, it isn't such a good idea when you count on situations or conditions in order to have a reactive, good feeling response. That isn't such a good idea because you can't control the conditions in the beginning. But after you get the hang of this, and you do begin to literally conjure and control conditions, then you can focus upon the condition that just happened as a sort of leverage or momentum builder for the next and the next and the next, because the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. And the reason for that is because your expectation gets into a better place. There's a game that we offered. It's in the Ask and It Is Given book. And in the beginning, there were about 25 people who were visiting with us in Jerry and Esther's living room who began playing this game. And the effect of it was very productive for every one of them. There were two games, but the first game is put $100 in your pocket. Find it somewhere and put it there. And don't spend it in action. Just spend it vibrationally and mentally. And spend it all day, every day, on as many things as you can spend it on.
100 times over.
Just spend it and spend it and spend it. I could do that. I could have that. I could have one of those shoes. I could eat lunch here. I could take these people with me to lunch. Feeling the freedom of what it feels like to have prosperity in your now fingertips. And you play that game for a little while and your vibration shifts, and then that 100 grows to another and another and another and another and another and another and another. Another game, you started this trend of conversation, and it's so helpful because you said, I just like to be playful about things. And so if you could turn the angst that any of you feel about money into the game, the delightful game of money, just that shift in the way you feel about it would shift your point of attraction. So here's another game. Take a columnar pad and list all of your outgoing expenses. The largest one, let's say, is usually a house payment. So put that in the far right-hand column. And then the next one's usually a car payment. So put that next. And then insurance or whatever your obligations are monthly. Just lay them out across this columnar pad with the biggest one on the far right and the smallest one on the far left. The smallest one like the cable or the paper that's being delivered, whatever it is, lay them all out and then look at it in a sort of understanding of where you're at financially. It's a sort of recognition of what currently is. And then make a statement to yourself that says, I'm going to do my best to keep my commitments to all of these contracts that I've signed. And in some cases, I'm going to do twice what I've said I would do. So then, as the bills come, pay them and indicate that you've paid them in some way. Check them off, put a happy face, whatever you want. But as you pay them each month, make the indication that you've done it. Don't keep a running balance. Just keep track of what your monthly commitment is. And on the smallest one, if you can, pay it twice. And if you can, on the next one to the smallest one, pay it twice too. So now you're saying, not only am I prosperous enough to do what I said I would do, in some cases I'm doing double what I said I would do. And what you'll notice is that in a very short period of time, this far left column will evaporate altogether. In other words, that may be something. For one person, when they were playing the game, it was a bicycle that they had purchased at Sears. And it wasn't very long before that payment was gone in the next column too. Because prosperity is not only about the dollars that are coming in. Prosperity is about the dollars that are going out. It's about the balance between the in and the out. But it is also about the way you feel about what's going in and out. And so what begins to shift for you is that this begins to feel like a game. People said to us, I'm actually, instead of dreading going to the mailbox to see what's there, I'm eager to see what's in there so that I can apply it to this game. People began paying their bills not when they were due, but when they first came, because the game became fun. And in a very short period of time, several of them became, wait for it, drum roll please, debt-free. In a very short period of time, because the game, because you feel lighthearted about it, the universe will respond to your playful game so quickly, and it will not respond to your prayerful needs. It's responding to the way you feel, you see. And so if you make a game of it, you let the money in. If you are all serious and worried about it, you hold the money out. Nice game.
Makes sense. My question for you was, I've learned at this gathering yesterday and today that beyond step 3, there's a step 4, and that there's a step 5.
Step 4 is just mastery of step 3. Seems weird. So step 1 is ask, can't help it. Step 2 is source answers, none of your business, they're just doing it. Step 3 is you got to line up with it. You got to get in that receptive mode. And step 4 is just getting really good at being in the receptive mode, staying there longer, going there more quickly.
The question is, why is it so easy for us who maybe have been conditioned to be the way we are, go back to the way we were?
Because law of attraction responds to your active vibrations. And because you see people that activate some old vibrations, or you watch a movie that activates an old vibration, or you meet up with someone that you haven't seen for a while that activates an old vibration, these vibrations will remain dormant, but there's a possibility of them activating again. And so here's the statement that we want you to take away from this important question. Your vibration is where you last left it on any subject. It's where you last left it. Now, it might be dormant even though you left it there, but wherever you left it, there's a possibility, and pretty good possibility really, that something's going to happen that's going to activate it again. So when it is activated again, when it's activated again, if you move it to a better feeling place, then next time it's activated, it will come to that better feeling place, until eventually what's activated will always be right here where you are. That's why it just gets easier and easier. This is a belief bridging example. As your beliefs become more harmonious with the knowing that your inner being holds, then there won't be any resistance. Don't you now know for sure that you had bugaboos or hindering beliefs that now just don't apply to you?
Oh, absolutely.
But that's how that happened. In other words, this is how it works. Contrast causes you to ask. You're not in vibrational alignment with what you've asked for yet, but you want to be. So you look there, you think about that, you talk about that, you get into alignment with it, and now you're in alignment with it, and boom, now it manifests. And along with the manifestation comes a new set of contrasting experiences, which causes you to launch more desires that you're not a match to, but you want to be. And so you look at them and you think about them and you find a way to be in alignment with them, and you move into alignment with them, and now you're in alignment with them, and then boom, it manifests. So now you get the manifestation, but you also receive a new set of contrasting experiences. And so what keeps happening to you is your desire continues to expand. But each time your desire expands, it brings a whole lot of things with it that are not going to activate on you in a negative way again. When you begin to feel confident about one thing, your confidence affects all things. So you don't have to go back and rework so many of those vibrations. That's why once this gets rolling, once you acknowledge that you've got some negative emotion and you deliberately move your thoughts until that negative emotion softens, and then you can feel that you're on the move on it. And so now you deliberately and wisely, because you can feel the resistance is at bay, you deliberately now begin goosing up your specific thought about it until the momentum increases. And then you feel these thoughts turn into things, and you witness the cooperative universe, as so many have been describing here today. You witness the cooperative universe and you hold that knowing. Esther will say every now and again, I just can't believe that. And then she laughs because she knows those can't be the correct words, because nothing will come to you that you don't believe. But what she means to say is, I'm so surprised and delighted by this. Not, it's unbelievable, because anything that's really unbelievable is not going to happen. So it doesn't take very many things that you have deliberately thought about, and then deliberately felt, and deliberately honed into a better feeling place, and then been able to witness the universal response to it until there's the manifestation. As you run those things over and over in your mind, it is our desire that you keep telling yourself the story of our friend finding the diamond. Forget about the guy who claims he lost it. Just think about the friend who found the diamond. Think about the girl who the airline sent her a big jet to take her to Chicago. There are all kinds of wonderful things that are about to pop for you. And as you take delight in them and recall them and savor them and milk them and practice the vibration of them, that's what step 4 is, just milking and holding the vibration of them. And then, of course, step 5, our favorite step, that's where you are back in step 1, but you're not mad at yourself. Step 5 is when you begin acting like your inner being. Your inner being can see you in distress, but your inner being doesn't find distress. Your inner being acknowledges where you are, but is so solution-oriented that where you are just doesn't dissuade your inner being from knowing where you really are. And when you start feeling like that, it doesn't matter where I appear to be. Your friends say, how you doing? Great. Did you get that job? No. Then why are you great? Because it's unfolding perfectly. Well, how do you know? I just know. But what's the evidence? Don't need evidence. What's wrong with you? You just get to that place where you just know. You just know. Because you know the laws, you know about law of attraction, and you know what you've predominantly been feeling. The best answer that we'll ever hear you say to someone is, well, just because I feel so good, it has to be going well for me. It can't not be going well for me. I feel so good. But what evidence do you have of it going good? I don't need evidence. I feel so good. The way I feel is the evidence for me. And stay tuned, because pretty soon you'll be able to see the evidence. For now, I just feel it.